Almost anyone can agree that the most difficult thing about delivering any presentation is getting started. Something you can do to help you ease some of the anxiety that comes with starting a presentation is to know exactly how you want to begin. Although you should never try to memorize an entire talk, committing just the first few lines to memory can help you ease into your presentation. So how should you begin your talk? A tried and true formula is to greet the audience, tell them your name, the title of your presentation, and then transition to your first slide by using a keyword from your title. When delivering a presentation, there are a few useful tips that you should keep in mind to help you capture the audience's attention and effectively deliver your message. One of the most important things that you can do to make sure that the audience has your attention is to be enthusiastic. If you appear bored about your topic, the audience will be bored as well. So portray your enthusiasm by smiling and by having a dynamic body language. One thing you should never do when starting your presentation is to make statements that negatively predispose the audience about your talk. So avoid apologizing and making excuses. Statements like, "I hope you're not bored," will predispose the audience to feel bored and to check out. And saying things like, "I'm so nervous," will heighten their awareness of your anxiety. So avoid making negative comments about yourself or the content that you're about to share. Another sure way to lose the audience's attention is to stare at the screen when you talk. One way to avoid doing this is to have slides that do not have a lot of text so that you don't feel tempted to read the slides. But beware, even speakers who have clean slides often find themselves staring at the screen as a defense mechanism. So this is why practicing in front of an audience can be so helpful. So rather than staring at your slides, face the audience and make eye contact. Do not just stare at the wall. When someone does not make eye contact and instead just focuses on a point at the back of the room, they appear robotic and disengaged. So look at your audience and do not be afraid to make eye contact. We have probably all been to a talk where the speaker blocks the screen with their body. If you do this, the audience will not be able to clearly see your slides. So stand where your figures are visible and use the pointer rather than using your body to point at objects. But be careful. Do not overuse the pointer. When you're nervous, as someone who's giving a talk usually is, your hand will be more likely to shake, and a shaky pointer can be really distracting, particularly if the pointer is used for an extended period of time. So point out what you need to, let go of the pointer, and then point again when you have to. As you progress through your slides, do so at a pace that the audience can follow. If you rush, the audience might miss key points of your presentation. When you practice, make sure you can comfortably finish the presentation within the allocated time, and do not try to fit in more than 1 minute of spoken content per slide. You also want to maintain professionalism, so avoid trying to force being cute or funny. There's a time and place for telling jokes, and in general, a formal presentation, particularly one where you're being evaluated, is not really the place for this. Nevertheless, do not be afraid to show your personality through your delivery. You don't have to become someone else to give a good talk. So draw on your prior experiences to make your talk more personal and natural. So what should you do if you draw a blank? Don't worry, that happens to everyone from time to time. Just take a few seconds to gather your thoughts and then continue. So you're coming to the end of your presentation. You can finally see the light at the end of the tunnel. How should you conclude? Let the audience know that you're about to conclude by including a slide titled Conclusions. You can also say things like, "In conclusion," or "The final point I would like to make is," to let the audience know that you're getting ready to summarize your main points. And you want to have only a few concluding statements. You do not want to overwhelm the audience at the last minute with a lot of information. You should then remind them of the most important point of your presentation. What would you like them to remember from your talk? You also need to remind the audience why the findings you've shared with them are important and how they impact things that they care about. Finally, you can finish by opening up a new perspective, either by proposing questions that should be explored or by describing future work or issuing a call to action. Once you have finished presenting your content, remember to acknowledge your sources, thank the audience, and open up the floor for questions. And please, don't ever finish a presentation by saying, "Okay, I'm done." You've done so well. Make sure that you finish strong.